This is one of the oldest models I personally know of, and I think any trader you ask will also know of. This model is called the ORB, or the opening range break. Now, it's been used by multiple infamous traders since the 80s and 90s, some of which we'll go over in a second. The reason I'm making this video is because if you guys don't know me, my name is Ty, or Bitcoin Playboy. I notoriously use data to support the thesis that a trading structure or model will be profitable in the long term. And I have statistical evidence to show you today that the ORB model and the way that I now trade it, and the way I now trade it, is important versus the old way it was traded, because that old way has lost its alpha decay over time. If you don't know what alpha decay means, it just means the strategy back then became so popular and so utilized by traders, hedge fund institutions, bots, algorithms, etc., that it lost its value. Now, of course, the model itself still provided value as a continuation model, but you had to tweak some things. And I'm here to show you the things that I have tweaked to now make this old model brand new and refurbished for 2025. I'm also referencing this as the easiest possible model to learn, because I can teach it to you in under 5 minutes and you can utilize it tomorrow in the next session. And I can guarantee a longevity of success if done properly, because I have front and live tested data. I don't, by the way, I don't back test anything. I front test it. You perform differently in a back tested environment. So generally speaking, I don't like that data. I want to do it in a real environment and see how I perform. So let's first show you guys a little bit of the history of the opening range model before I go and annotate and dictate exactly what I've changed with it since then. So some of the main things to note is, although this model was utilized way back in the day, and what we can see here, back in the 1990s, there was a famous book that came out by Tony Corbell, which was the day trading with short-term price patterns in the opening range breakout. Right, 31 years after it's published, still an abundance of opening range strategies on the market. Not only this, right. Not only was Corbell a huge proprietor of this model, but Sheldon Knight was a well-known one that used it. We have tons of analytical evidence from the 90s and early 2000s of this model and exactly how it was traded. Of course, this was very nuanced to how it's traded today. There's 1,000 different ways to trade ORB today, but I do want to show you guys that this is an old model. I'm not making this model today. This isn't something that I'm coming up with. I'm just tweaking it with a few new variables that I found to work well with it over time. So my data is completely independent of others, and others may trade it differently, but I have data support that it works, and data support that it works in a real environment without back testing years of data. So a few of these websites will be listed below if you want to check it out. This one was posted in 2022. This one was back in March of this year. And then we have a massive Swiss. This is from S-Fi Research. This is a massive research article about ORB and its performance since 2020. They reference Tony Corbell in here, as back in the 1990s, he was a huge proprietor of it. Arthur Merrill, of course, was another big one. It's hard to say who made it. I don't know, but they are the ones who we can annotate as authors from back in the 80s and 90s. So with this, all of these will be in the comments. I'm not going to go over the historical evidence and how it's traded, because it's useless to talk about today, but these 3 links will be down in the in the link below for you guys to check out if you want. Now, I do want to show you guys my data, because this is what's important, right? The way they used to trade ORB really doesn't matter all that much, because, as I said, its value has significantly decayed. What you see here on the screen right now is, I'm going to minimize myself. This is data from my personal trading, and I do this live every single day in front of 500 plus people. So it's audible by the majority, and I'll have a link in this in the comments too for you to check. If you want to audit my guide and look at everything, look at all the trading view snapshots, look at where the positions were taken, etc., come check it out. But there's only one piece of data on here that matters, and this one piece of data is my ORB versus ILM. The ILM doesn't matter. It's another model I trade, and it will be in another video. But ORB, over 45 trades, and that's over a course of about 6 months. So I've taken 45 trades over 6 months, right? I'm not trading that often. I'm conservative, but I make a lot of money doing it. A 73% win rate with about 30 R collected. Now, if you don't understand what 30 R means, just multiply it by 2, and that's the portfolio appreciation given that model. So just with ORB alone, I've garnered nearly a 60% portfolio allocation in 6 months. That's amazing. I mean, that's, 10% a month. I mean, what else do you want to ask for? Now, I know it's not doubling your portfolio in a day or, making, $1 million in a week, right? These are conservative models, but again, most people online have been poisoned to this idea that you need to have a model that doubles your portfolio every week, or you're lacking in your fundamental understanding of trading. I think it's the opposite. I'm a very conservative trader, and I would guarantee I probably make more than 99% of retail traders on the market today. So I'm here to prove this and tell you how I've achieved a 73% win rate, a 60% portfolio allocation over 6 months. And we have a ton of examples to go through here, and I want to go through some examples that happened in the last 3 days. So these are relevant. These aren't cherry-picked examples. Like we'll go through and just find something that says ORB, right? So this is ORB model I took on March 27th. We can pull up the snapshot here. Hopefully it's a full snapshot. So here we go. We can go through a few of these trades. But before I go through the trades, you need to understand, what is the ORB? What have you done to it? How have you modified it? So let's do that first. Now, we're going to quickly go through this document I've created. Looks beautiful, I know, and for good reason, because it's very valuable. Beautiful things come in, valuable things come in beautiful packages, right? Opening range break. One thing you need to know about this robust model is that it's a continuation. So when trading this, we're looking to have a continuation of a trend. As the name suggests, it's the opening range of an asset. Now, back in the 90s and 80s, most people would use this on a plethora of about 7,000 different stocks, right? We actually know that this is continued to be used this way up until 2024 with SEI Financials Foundation doing their rhetoric and their analysis. Their analysis came from 7,000 stocks. I'm here to tell you that that is 100% not what I'm going to be doing, not what I've done, and not something I would ever teach. I would never tell you that this model has to be used on a stock that has above 10% average volume over the last 3 days, trading above X, trading above Y, and then you can find that. I mean, that is too much filtering to find in a single session for a retail trader. Maybe for a massive fund, it's fine and you can produce a higher edge in that way. But I'm here to tell you that you need to trade only one asset, and you can trade the same asset every day, which makes it easy. That's the goal of a model, is it's easy to identify, easy to enter, easy to exit, easy to take profit, etc. So let's go through this. Index, what we need to do for ORB is identify the opening range, set alarms on the range boundaries, opening range breaks, so we'll define this, the standard deviations and the settings to find those, and identifying bad market conditions where you would not take it. Now, the first step of this is identifying the open range. What is the open range? We are going to be using ES, YM, NASDAQ, and gold. Those are the four that I can say work very well with this model. Now, I only trade one of the four. I only trade this on NASDAQ. Sometimes on gold, yes, but 99% of the time I'm trading NASDAQ. It has higher volatility, and I like the fact that it continues often. And if this is a continuation model, that means I can use it quite often on NASDAQ. So what we're going to do here is ORB is defined by the first 15-minute candle that closes after market open, which means you have to wait at 9:30 a.m. EST or 6:30 a.m. PST, 15 minutes. So it becomes 9:45 a.m. or 6:45 a.m. Once 6:45 or 9:45 a.m. hits, I need you to mark the lowest and highest point in that last 15-minute candle. So go to the 15-minute candle time frame, mark the high and the low. Easy, right? It should be. Now, the next step is to wait. This is also the hardest step for most traders. They don't know how to wait. Set alarms on each side of this breakout here. What we're going to be looking for now is where I've modified the strategy. We want an M5 candle close above the range. We don't want a wick, right? This is what they used to do in the 90s and the early 2000s, is they just wanted a candle to break above and they'd enter. I think it's obviously faulty now and probably had a good edge back then, but does not work anymore. You need to have a candle close outside the range in order to take this long and or short. Now, the next part about this is standard deviation settings. We'll get into a second of what exactly this is and why you need it, but these are the settings. Take a screenshot and modify your Fibonacci retracement for this. How you're going to use this is if you get a long breakout, so a 5-minute close to the upside, you're going to look to take the Fib retracement from the low to the high, it's going to give you a plethora of extensions. These are take profit points. Now, you're going to use this if you do not have time-based liquidity on your side. All time-based liquidity means is this. I'm quickly going to go over here. This is an example of the orb where you would just take profit into the standard deviations at 1.5, at 2.5, and if you can hold the runner, eventually to 4. Now, what a time-based liquidity means is you will have, and I'm going to move to current day session to make this a little bit easier for you guys. Current day actually had a fantastic orb as well. Time-based liquidity is always our number one objective. What we would prefer to take profit into is New York highs, mark the highs out, New York lows. We can take Asia lows like this. And as we can see, look at that, a fantastic move outside. Now I'm going to remove this and you can see how reactive price is to these levels. I don't care who you are or how you trade. Coincidentally, you probably use these levels whether you know it or not. Asia low was the low of day for the NASDAQ today. You can see this massive reversal from this level. As we can see, it traded into London's highs that I just made. Now, we have the Asia session opening up again. Look at this. Price moved immediately into Asia highs and is now retracing. This is why these are the number one liquidity points that you want to use for take profit and stop losses, right? These are the ideas of where profits, price is going to draw to. If you don't have it, if they're not close enough, right? If you don't have New York, Asia, or London session time-based liquidity near you, it's okay. You will use this instead. So make sure you understand why and when you use that. Now, there can be some bad days for orb. Typically speaking, you want to trade orb early in the day. I actually have data supporting the thesis of when you want to trade the orb. I have never taken an orb trade after 8:10 a.m. So this is PST, right? And this would be 11. So this would be like by lunch. By lunchtime, by the time New York session's having lunch, you should not take an orb trade. It is going to be useless by that time because you've been trading within the opening range. Most of the time, you're probably waiting for news at that point, and there's going to be no continuation past that level. Orb works the best if you can take it immediately during the 6:50 to 7:10 window. Now, the best window, as you can see, most of my trades are all collaborated at the 6:50 time mark. So this is another, right, 15 or 5 minutes past when the orb closes. So as orb closes, within 15 to 20 minutes, you should have your entry. That's why this is one of the oldest models, but also one of the easiest, because you wait 15 minutes to get the range, then you wait another 15 minutes to get entry, and then you have an average of about 30 minutes to an hour and a half to stop loss or take profit, which is great. That's why it is so easy and simple, and what I recommend to a lot of new traders. And guess what? That's it. Like, that is the entire structure of the orb. Now I want to go into some examples to properly show you what's going on here. One of the first orb examples I want to show you is obviously one of the biggest ones that I've noticed personally, right? This is going to be session open, mark the high, mark the low, move down, wait for an M5 close outside, get your M5 close outside, take entry, mark out the Fibonacci retracement from low to high using the settings I gave you, and then we're going to take profit into these levels. Half standard deviation, typically you can move your entry, your stop loss up to 0 because it shouldn't revisit it by this point yet. Once you hit -1, which is your 1 standard deviation, you can move stops continually. So we just continue to move stops up in this trend, hit 2 standard deviations, and there you go. You have a profit. Now you can keep holding, of course, and this is where discretion and your own tweaking comes in. I'm not here to give you, the complete model and tell you that it's at its best point. No, the model can always be enhanced with certain, additions that you want to make to it. Add some sort of moving average or add some sort of, price weighted or VPVR, volume, OTC, smart money concept, whatever it is. I'm just trying to show you that this is undoubtedly one of the oldest concepts in trading, and it still works. Now, I can only define still works as the way that I have tweaked it and modified it. So my orb still works, of course, and I'm extremely profitable with it in 6 months. I mean, over 6 months, the 2 models I've been using, I maintain a 70% win rate. A 70% win rate is insane. Everyone would love a 70% win rate, whether they want to say it or not, and almost 100 are collected, which is almost, a 2x on the portfolio. I know this is abnormal returns, but keep in mind, I'm here just to show you what's possible. I'm not here to say that you can do this exactly like I have, but you can achieve results similar because you would be trading the exact same model that I am. So hopefully you understand ORB a little bit more. It is a very simple model. I want to go through some examples real quick and maybe show you an indicator that can help you with this. It is by Lux Algo, so shout out the guys that are working over there. This is called Lux Algo, ORB, and Targets. All this is going to do is do the easiest thing for you, one of the easiest things that you can do. It's going to mark out the ORB high and ORB low. I'm actually going to show you today's session for ORB because it was a bad one. I'm not giving you a model here that has a 100% win rate. There's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. So for the sake of this one, let's check it out. You have a 5-minute close outside the range here. Today on my live stream, I'll put up a quick little snippet. We did not take this one for one reason. I wonder if you guys can tell what the reason was.
I'm not taking this orb most likely if we have one to an upside, especially with news in 15 minutes, because we are right on the 15-minute 200 EMA.
Fair.
And inside a 15-minute fair value up.
If you move to the 15-minute time frame, it is sitting in a supply zone. You have this massive block where we auction off orders, and the bears typically will come in and sell this off again if a 15-minute candle doesn't close inside. And guess what? It didn't, so we didn't take the trade. It would have been a losing orb. We did, in fact, take the orb short to the downside today and took a loss. I'll show you this in the journal. Although it's not a perfect strategy, it will produce you profits. Just use it correctly. It's the easiest, I'm telling you, the easiest model to use. You can see, took the short, ended up getting stopped out. I lost about minus 0.7 R on that one today. And the day before made 2.2 R. So no biggie at all. But I am here to show you the complete reality of this model because it's great and it's quite frankly changed a lot of my members' lives. I'll put up some testimonials right now, people getting funded payouts. But we trade this every single day. Here's another one, right? Here's the opening range high, opening range low. Wait for a 5-minute close outside. Here's your 5-minute close outside. Take entry immediately. Stop loss at 50% of the range. And then what you're going to do is take your Fibonacci retracement like I taught you. And you're going to pull it from the low to the high. Now, we can look to get minus 1.5. Don't think even 2 even came out of this. It just trailed for the rest of the day. Yeah. So max allocation here was 1.5 standard deviations. So as you come to the one, trim off, and then you can move your stops to entry there. And you can see how this is consistent throughout every day. Now I can show you a plethora of examples. Let's go here. So this was March 28th. This was an insane day, right? This is an insane day. You get your close outside here, stop loss at half the range, and then you're going to pull up your Fibonacci retracement to see what our deviations are going to be. And, of course, what a insane day this was because this is a full -4 standard deviations. So I think by now I've proven my point that this model is extremely consistent. Here, we'll do it again. We can just continue to look at each of the opening ranges and how they performed. Here's 6:50 a.m. I'm going to pull, and you would take an entry right here. Stop loss at half the range. Take profit here. Looks like you would have to have done it, which looks to be somewhere around these Asia highs. Take profit here, a quick 1-to-1 R. Not bad, but you get money out of it, which is the goal at the end of the day. Let's go back to this one. This looks like another fantastic orb. So March has been consistent. That's also why I'm making this video, because March has proven a massive amount of value in this model, especially the one we trade specifically. I can't speak to the way other people trade the orb, but nonetheless, I know that the foundation of the model and how it's built works well over time. If you take a look at this trade here, a nice 1 to 2.38 R, 5-minute closes outside the range. Take profit into the lows here. You got it. It's just consistent win after win. Take a loss, win, big win, take a loss, win, take a loss, take a loss, win, win, win. It's so consistent, and I hope more people use it because most of you need more simple models in your trading toolbox because you're over trading and you're using too complicated techniques that don't exactly work, or listening to coaches in the market that don't have data like this to support their thesis, that not only are they profitable, but their models produce positive returns over a long period of time. Last thing to note, I encourage anyone else that trades ORB to comment on this video. Tell me how you personally trade Orb and if it has changed your trading in any way, if it's helped shape your confidence in trading, if it's helped change your trading profit potential, if it's increased your profits, even if it's decreased. Maybe you have something bad to say about Orb. Comment down below. If you want to see me trade Orb every single day in a real environment, there's going to be a link down below so you can watch it. Generally, it's free every Tuesday and Sunday. Watch me do it for free. We just did it today. So best way to learn is watch someone who's already profitable, commit trades, and trade in a real active environment. So without further ado, that is today's video on Orb. Please try it soon. Again, as much as you may not trust me that this model is fantastic and produce a massive return, go try it yourself. I always encourage people to do this. If you don't want to trust me, trust the data. The data doesn't lie, and you attempting it tomorrow in your live session, even just marking it out so you understand where it's at and the potential it has, is going to be great. So I will see you guys in another video. Bye-bye.